It's 2026 and I'm so happy that GTA 6 will be arriving later this year for everyone who's excited about it. But it isn't coming to PC yet, so I went and finished Red Dead Redemption for the first time ever. And I've got to say, the Red Dead games clear GTA, which confuses me a great deal. I'm into action and explosions that are dished up like in Michael Bay movies, with a constant stream of combat and encounters to keep my gamer hands moving and my goblin brain grooving. So why does this slowed down 16-year-old desert adventure work for me? Well, I have some ideas, so sit back, relax, and listen to my unwise words about Red Dead Redemption. John Marston is without a doubt the best character in this game, which should be the case. You play as him and he has the most screen time. He has a very unique gruff voice that matches his physical appearance, but also what really surprised me was how polite he is. Like early on you meet Bonnie and Drew McFarlane, a daughter and father who run a ranch, who chose to save John from a fatal gunshot wound. For a decent amount of time, John refers to Bonnie as Miss McFarlane, which she consistently requests just to be called Bonnie. This is only one example, but a lot of people John interacts with are treated with the same kind of courtesy. It's not until you start meeting those that annoy him who get first names used quite commonly. So Red Dead Redemption focuses around John in his new phone Who Dis arc, where he puts the gang outlaw lifestyle behind him and settles down with his family on a farm, trading in his violent outings for a more peaceful slice of life. But you can't outrun the past. His family are taken captive by the Bureau of Investigation and John's forced to track down former gang members and bring them in to save his family. And that's it. That's the motivation of the game. You're dropped off in a town and you begin to socially mingle with townfolk to find out where you can track down these free members. The in-game stats said I was over 50% way through the game before I even got one, which shows that people get you on a real goose chase in the early game. But I didn't mind it. See, the hilarious thing for me is that I hate when games waste my time and everything feels slow, but somehow both Red Dead Redemption games found this perfect balance of easing me into them while never limiting what I needed to do. I always felt like I could play at my own pace, but the world never feels like it flies by. The game slows you down, it makes you take the world and interact with it in a way that feels impossible to rush. Random encounters, prioritizing challenges and strangers, they appear in the world and give you the option to engage or ignore. And I would always choose to engage with them because I wanted the full experience out of it. The easiest way to sum up what strangers are in Red Dead is they amount to being side quests. You meet up with them, a short cutscene plays, and they ask for help and you go on your way afterwards, to engage with them whenever you feel like it. Some amount to fetching herbs and flowers, others ask you to find a particular kind of horse, and so on. These never felt like something you need to do, but was always something I wanted to do. A lot of games have fetch missions that are just go here, come back, and while Red Dead has that, having the knowledge of where these things are can help you later on with challenges or vice versa. For example, one of the challenges required me to find red sage, which I did early on, so finding it for one of the strangers I ran into was easy as I knew where to roughly look. Obviously you could just Google it, which is something I did later on for other stuff, but this learning the land and particular locations of things you need to collect felt good, because it wasn't marked on your map to check this place, but to keep an eye out and find it for yourself. Strangers fall into being short-term, eccentric individuals whose weirdness knows no bound and common sense has no place being. They're fun and weird and a nice change of pace from the main story. Now, the important named characters you meet will be the long-term relationships you build along the way, and they feel more normal, apart from some, but they're not all there. These people will be the ones who help you as you help them. Some request help and others demand it. But with everything you need to get done, you can't really be picky. You meet local people who are just wanting to continue living their life the way they know how. The travelers exploiting people for financial gain, and even leaders from conflicting sides in a war. Each of these people have their own plans, agendas and realities of how the world operates around them. And the writing really demonstrates their belief coming to life with how they engage in conversations with John. I mentioned Bonnie before. She's a calm, kind, down-to-earth woman who takes no shit from people. But during a mission she bombards John with harsh comments about how barbaric and evil people like him are. During this mission she's terrified for the safety of her father's life, and that calm personality she once showed seeps away as her fear gets the best of her. This is the perfect example of the complexity of their relationship, as John bears no grudge and still helps her regardless of being stained as an outlaw. And this is just one person. When John reaches Mexico, his impact is felt throughout the country. Whether he believes in the movement or not, what he assists, his direct action shifts the tides in those he helps favour. Everyone is pulling John one way or another for their own wants and needs, using the promise of finding those he's after for his assistance. A war for freedom has you working both sides with no real loyalty to either, as they both string you along at mission after mission, with the main focus being that they can help you find Javier and Bill. Both sides end up being slimy and horrendous with how they treat people for their cause, and John's used as a means to an end. From start to finish, this game is packed full of compelling characters voice acted by talented actors and actresses, truly bringing each character minor and major to life. I've always understood where people are coming from when they say open world games have been done to death. Personally, I haven't hit that open world fatigue, and I know it will come eventually, but I normally don't run them back to back to back, which I think is a blessing in its own right. So I'm neither for or against open world, but often I find that the scope of open worlds are usually half-assed when it comes to filling them out with things to do or meaningful content. Which is why this 16-year-old game feels so refreshing. At no point did I feel suffocated by the amount of things they were in my close proximity. It feels like things are perfectly spread out across the map, with some areas being free to travel through and explore. Like truly explore and enjoy the world at a slow pace. Animals will hunt you down, outlaws will try and deceive you into helping them before pulling you off your horse or outright killing you. It might sound stupid me saying this, but it really captures the essence of what I assume the Wild West would be like. For such an old game, the world looks beautiful regardless if it's under the sun or the moon. The lighting just looks incredible across the land. And while it might not have the graphical fidelity of Red Dead Redemption 2, this actually helps it a great deal show the world as barren and dead. While areas do have some life to them, this stands as a great showcase of what the world is, and a lot of the time mirrors the outlaw's lifestyle as something that feels like it's coming to an end, as the modern day age begins its journey forward. Now, if you don't want spoilers around the ending, then I would strongly advise skipping this point of the video if you plan to play it yourself, as I don't wish to ruin it for you, and also it's something I wish I could have experienced myself, and I'd hate to rob that from you. I knew this ending was coming, as it's been spoken about freely by YouTubers, friends, family and everybody else, and I felt like that was going to take me out of this game and not let me get attached to John, because his fate was already predetermined. Regardless of knowing that his death was around the corner, it still deeply hit me. Obviously it wasn't for the shock value, so I sat back after it happened and thought about it some. And I think why it struck home for me was because no matter what you do to change yourself and grow as a person, leaving behind what felt wrong with you to make a better life, sometimes that doesn't matter, and the past will catch up with you. This way of saying it sounds so dramatic, but through life we make mistakes, we aren't always forgiven. Seeing John through both games, I feel he truly did become a better man, a family man, one who knew his past wasn't going to let him get away. And instead of running away and trying to escape, he chose his family and went down swinging on his own terms. His death is heartbreaking, and knowing it coming isn't the same as experiencing it. It's a slow death, his breathing sounds awful as he's wheezing with a mouthful of blood, coughing as he stands there with holes filling his torso. 45 seconds of hearing his life slip away through his exhausted dying breath left me feeling so cold. Something made 16 years ago still carries these impactful moments that give us goosebumps, and experiencing it for myself really showcased the level of detail they put into this game. Now, I didn't enjoy taking over and playing as Jack to simply do a revenge mission, but I completely understand why it works. See, Jack was smart, kind and ambitious as a boy. In the Undead Nightmare DLC, he's even explaining to John about his book, to which you see John admire the passion Jack has for what he's been reading, like a parent should. But life doesn't always work out the way we like, and the potential Jack had to avoid the life his father lived goes from being a certainty to impossible. Jack loses both his parents and grows up honing his skill as an outlaw to seek revenge against Edgar Ross for killing John. One I took great pleasure in dishing out, but ultimately realising that Jack unfortunately couldn't escape the sins of his father and slipped into the boots of an outlaw instead of something more honest, but sometimes the cycle just continues. John was this character I had played for hours on end, experiencing how we fit into this new lifestyle, and running a high on a playthrough. He wasn't the man of his past. Sure, John gets impatient and agitated, speaking his mind to those who push his buttons, but John was a good man most of the time. Unfortunately, to save his family, he made choices to help people he morally disagreed with, because finding those gang members was the only way to save his family. You see in these scenes that he doesn't push back against what people are doing that he doesn't agree with, but ultimately stands aside and aids them because it's what he needs to do. John finds himself in a complex situation where his morality is being pushed in a bunch of different directions. While being a flawed man, he makes the best decision he can to save his loved ones, in a world constantly changing around him, filled with those welcoming those changes or who don't even notice it's happening. Red Dead Redemption was an amazing time and well deserved winning Game of the Year back in 2010. No, we're not done. While it's not canon, it fits nicely within the end days of John Marston as Uncle, Abigail and Jack all get infected, with Uncle being killed off and Jack and Abigail being hogtied and placed in the home while he searches for help. I find it hilarious that John tells Jack to do right by his mum and Abigail to teach Jack right from wrong, as if this infection is some kind of dramatic blowout of attitude and misbehaving. This really set the tone for what kind of DLC you were getting into. Not because it's funny, but more so because this is so insanely out of the ordinary that it's being treated like anything but a zombie outbreak. Undead Nightmare is very gamey and silly. It's a bunch of characters confused about what's going on and fighting for survival. There's a fun mechanic in the game that asks you to save towns from the zombies, and then they become safe spaces. But over time they become infected again and you'll need to venture back to rescue them. Rescuing them for the first time is how you actually unlock weapons and they get added straight into your inventory, which was a nice incentive to make me involve myself with it, but also there was an achievement for having all of them rescued at once, so I did it for that reason. The DLC takes out some realistic mechanics, I guess you could call it. In the base game, if you wanted to fast travel, you have to take a carriage, pay for it, skip the journey. That's how you can travel across the map quickly, and it costs money. In the DLC, you can go to bed and fast travel to any of the places that you've been before. I think even if you've rescued a town once and it gets reinfected, you can still fast travel there. You also get horses that have unlimited stamina. You have to go find them, but it's things like this that really just ease out the base game and let you go and have fun in a zombified land. This DLC was tons of fun and a nice switch up from the base game, reintroducing characters alive and dead for you to do with as you please. I was already gutted that Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't get DLC like this, but after experiencing it, I can really see why so many fans are unhappy. Overall, I had a great time with this. I'm not huge on the gameplay and style and never have been, but with an experience like this, making that sacrifice for such an enjoyable story was well worth doing, and I'd do it again. Red Dead Redemption came out back in 2010, won Game of the Year, and was sitting back as an incredible game I didn't get around until 2026. But man, was it worth the wait. Thank you for sitting through me talking about things with this voice of mine. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed, and if so, leave a like. Let me know in the comments if there are any games that you played years after release that you enjoyed and wish you got to earlier. Also subscribe, it's free and makes number go up. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and or evening, and I'll catch you next time.